Today I'll be taking the personality test to learn about what my personality is. I've actually taken this test multiple times, but I've always forgotten what my results were besides the first letter, the I and the E, introvert or extrovert. I actually don't really understand what the rest of the letters mean, but let's take this test again. This time I'll have something to refer back on if I forget what I got. You regularly make new friends. I think it's harder to make new friends now that I'm a little bit more into the adult world. Do I regularly make new friends? Not really. I will go with a little bit of disagree. Or maybe a bit more disagree. Yeah, I will go with more disagree. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. I spend a lot of my free time doing nothing and wasting it. I spend a lot of my free time on YouTube and listening to random podcasts or random videos and justifying it by telling myself that I'm learning something, but in reality, I'm not really taking much in. But when there is something that I'm interested in, I will go all in. So a little bit agree. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. I think definitely. But I wouldn't say that's a full-on agree, so let's go with medium agreement. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. I usually have backup plans, but do I have a backup plan to that backup plan? I don't think so. I do think things through, so a little bit agree. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. I look calm on the outside, but on the inside, I am not calm. So I would say disagree. People think I'm calm, but it's because I don't really express my emotions on the surface. I usually just keep it inside and scream inside my head. So, disagree. At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. This depends on the mood that I'm in and the people that I am with. There are certain type of people that intimidate me, and for those people, I don't initiate, but there are some people that I feel more comfortable with just by looking at them, and for those people I would go up and introduce myself. Currently, I would say that I'm more passive and wait for other people to come up to me, so a little bit agree. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. No, not necessarily. I would say a little bit disagree. Well, maybe agree. In what context is this? Actually, I would say that overall, yes. But sometimes I am fine with doing multiple at once. So, a little bit agree. You're very sentimental. Usually no, sometimes yes. So, disagree. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. Very much agree. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. Yes. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Yeah, I would say, but it has to be specific people. It's not everyone. So I'm going to put agree. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analyses of creative works. Highly disagree. I used to not like it, but as I've gotten older, I love interpreting things and analyzing things. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. I think for the most part, I am more logical. So I'll put agree, a little bit agree, or medium agree. I think medium. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. I like routines. I like having a list of things that I want to get done, but also incorporate flexibility into that schedule. I like making to-do lists, but I'm not the type that needs to cross everything off of the list before I can go to bed. I think this is a mixture for me. I'll do slightly disagree. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. Strongly disagree. I think about what I've said and what I did, where my arms were, all of that. You enjoy participating in group activities. Yes, I do. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. I'm not exactly sure what this is referring to. I would say slightly agree maybe, I'm not sure. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments. I know in my head that helping others is more satisfying than working on my own achievements, but I tend to focus on myself. I would say disagree as of right now. It's something that I know in my head, but it hasn't pierced through my heart yet, if that makes sense. You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. I do have a lot of interest, but I'm bound by money and time. I don't tend to find it super difficult, so I'll put disagree. But I am interested in many things. I'll do medium disagree. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. Agree. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. Depends on who's present. If there are people that are willing to step up into that leadership position, then I will hold back. But if there is no one that will take that role on, then I am willing to step up. What I'm trying to say is that I won't be the first to volunteer. I won't necessarily avoid it, so I will do disagree. Slightly disagree. You are definitely not an artistic type of person. Well, I like editing. I'm not great at it. I do like painting once in a while. I like writing. I love writing. So I would disagree. You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings. In today's day and age, yes. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. Strongly agree. I like to get things done and over with before resting. You enjoy watching people argue. I enjoy watching people debate. I don't like it when people yell at each other and try to see who can scream the loudest. I will assume that argue means to have a more debate type of conversation, so I'll do agree. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. Depends on the situation. Right now, I would say agree. Your mood can change very quickly. How quick is quickly? I've noticed that sometimes I could be super happy in the morning, but I could feel super sad in the evening. Maybe it's just hormones. I don't know. Slightly agree. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. Okay, I've been working on my patience, and for people who are not efficient, when I could see how they can improve on their efficiency, I would nudge them to be more efficient or point out ways that they can be more efficient. I wouldn't say that I lose patience. I don't have the most patience, but it is something that I'm working on and I've become better at it. So I would say medium disagree. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. Sometimes, not always, so slightly disagree. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. I wouldn't say that it's something that I dwell on, but I do think about it sometimes, once in a blue moon. So, no, slightly disagree. Medium disagree. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. This question makes it very clear that if you go a certain way, your result will be either introvert or extrovert. I would say slightly disagree. When I'm stressed, I want to be by myself and get things done, but when there is nothing on my to-do list, then I would want to be around other people. So, slightly disagree. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. I think I would say agree. I like philosophy, but I'm not sure if this is related to that. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different from yours. This question makes me think of Yeonmi Park, the North Korean who escaped to China and then South Korea and now is living in the United States. I loved her story, and it's probably one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. I would say that her experiences are very different from mine. Can I empathize with her story? I would say yes. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. I just think that it's smart to take as much of the time that someone gives you to make a decision as possible. Let's say you have to choose the college that you want to go to and the final day to choose is May 1st. Then I would wait until May 1st because there could be things that happen before now and then that may cause you to change your decision. So if there are specific deadlines in which I have to make a decision by, then I will usually wait to that date or as close as possible. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made. Disagree. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. It depends on if I'm still stressed. If I'm still stressed, then I'd rather not. But if I don't have anything on my plate, or if there are things that I can push off, then yes. Yes, I would say agree. You enjoy going to art museums. I like the Met. I'm not a huge fan of modern art. The type of art that has a dot in the middle or just a stripe. So I would do agree. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. I would say disagree, but I might be slow at catching on to how others are feeling. So disagree. You like to have a to-do list for each day. Strongly agree. I like vomiting out everything that I need to do for that day so that I won't forget and I don't have to keep it all in my head. You rarely feel insecure. Strongly disagree. Who doesn't feel insecure? You avoid making phone calls. Strongly disagree. I think it's because of the way I was raised. I am the oldest of my siblings and my parents don't speak English, so growing up there were a lot of phone calls I had to make to pay the bills, to ask about certain questions, so I'm not afraid of making phone calls. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. I like hearing different perspectives. I spent half of my life in New York, which is a very liberal place, but recently I've stumbled across more conservative channels, and I think it's so interesting to see the different perspectives and approaches that conservatives and liberals have on certain issues. But I wouldn't say that I spend a lot of time, so just a little bit agree. In your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. Disagree. I'm so bad at initiating activities. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. Medium agree. You're still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. I saw this TikTok trend where people think about something cringy that they've done in the past and it makes them cringe really hard. So who's not bothered by mistakes that they've made a long time ago? Okay, I'm not highly bothered, but sometimes a memory will come back to me and I will cringe. A little bit agree. You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. Sometimes, slightly disagree. It's not something that is always on my mind. Your emotions control you more than you control them. I think it's a good balance for the most part. I think I really have to go neutral on this one. Or slightly agree. Slightly agree. You take great care not to make people look bad, even when it is completely their fault. Maybe it depends on the person and whether I like them or not. I've never thought about this. I think I'll have to go with neutral. This is the first neutral. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. Strongly disagree. I like being consistent and organized. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. Slightly agree. You will love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. No. I know that I'm an introvert, but I hate working alone. I like a mixture of both working alone and interacting with people. Ideally, it would be half and half, which I know can be very surprising to a lot of people. People often think that I am very suitable for accounting, but I was in accounting for a bit and I hated it. Disagree. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. Disagree. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. I like both. I like working at a cafe, but I do prefer quiet, intimate places. So, medium disagree. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. Disagree. I think I'm very terrible at that. You often feel overwhelmed. Strongly agree. What I'm working on right now is to not view my responsibilities as burdens, but rather as opportunities to serve others and as opportunities in general. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. For the most part, yes. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. Recently, yes, I love listening to arguments on abortion, transgender, gun control, things like that. You would pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone else needed it more. I would say disagree. I'm pretty selfish. You struggle with deadlines. Strongly disagree. You feel confident that things will work out for you. I think I know in my head that things will be okay, but again, that knowledge hasn't pierced through my heart yet. So I get very worried and anxious about things. I would say disagree. ENTJ? No. Okay, that makes more sense. So I'm basically half extroverted, half introverted, which makes sense. I would say that I'm an introvert. I am super quiet, but it depends on my mood and who I'm with that I want to be with people or not. This is not what I was expecting. Second is intuitive, which is also half and half, basically 60-40. Intuitive individuals are very imaginative, open-minded, and curious. Curious, I would say that I'm definitely curious. They value originality and focus on hidden meanings and distant possibilities. Sure. Thinking individuals focus on objectivity and rationality, often dismissing emotions in favor of logic. They tend to see effectiveness as more important than social harmony. I'm not sure whether I am more thinking or the other one, but according to this, I am. Judging individuals are decisive, thorough, and highly organized. They value clarity, predictability, and closure, preferring structure and planning to spontaneity. Decisive? I wouldn't say that I'm super decisive. Thorough, yes. Highly organized? Organized, yes. Highly organized, and not always. Clarity, predictability, and closure. Okay. Turbulent. Individuals are self-conscious and sensitive to stress. They feel a sense of urgency in their emotions and tend to be success-driven, perfectionistic, and eager to improve. That's pretty accurate, I would say. Strengths and weaknesses. Let's see what they are. Efficient, energetic, self-confident. Strong-willed, strategic thinkers, charismatic, and inspiring. Weaknesses: stubborn and dominant. I think that's pretty accurate. Intolerant. It's my way or the highway. I wouldn't say I'm super intolerant, but I guess no one wants to think of themselves as intolerant. Impatient. Some people need more time to think than others. Impatient. Yeah, working on it though. Arrogant. A little bit probably. Poor handling of emotions. Commanders distant from their own emotional expression and sometimes dour and scornful of others. Yeah, I'm probably not the best at handling emotions. Cold and ruthless. Their obsession with efficiency and unwavering belief in the merits of rationalism, especially professionally, makes commanders incredibly insensitive in pursuing their goals, dismissing personal circumstances, sensitivities, and preferences as irrational and irrelevant. I will hope that I'm not cold and ruthless. Let's look at what other letters mean. So I got N as the second letter, but the other option is S, which stands for observant. Observant individuals are highly practical, pragmatic, and down to earth. They tend to have strong habits and focus on what is happening or has already happened. I would say that I'm pretty observant too. I don't see how these two are opposites of one another. I think that you can embody both. But I was pretty 50-50 on this one. The third letter is T versus F, and I got T. Thinking individuals focus on objectivity and rationality, prioritizing logic over emotions. See, efficiency and feeling individuals are sensitive and emotionally expressive. Okay, I think that makes sense. I'm a T. They are more empathetic and less competitive than thinking types and focus on social harmony and cooperation. Yeah, based on that, I would say that it's pretty accurate that I'm a T. The last letter is J versus P, and I got J. Judging individuals are decisive, thorough, and highly organized. They value clarity, predictability, and closure, preferring structure and planning to spontaneity. Prospecting individuals are very good at improvising and spotting opportunities. They tend to be flexible, relaxed, nonconformists who prefer keeping their options open. Okay, I think I could see why I got J. Yeah, I am not that flexible or relaxed, so And then assertive versus turbulent. I got turbulent. People who are self-conscious and sensitive to stress. Assertive are individuals who are self-assured, even-tempered, and resistant to stress. Who are those people? They refuse to worry too much and do not push themselves too hard when it comes to achieving goals. I could see some people in my life who are more assertive. Well, that was interesting. I would not say that the first letter is accurate. I don't think I'm an introvert by any measure, but I would say that in certain situations, I do like social gatherings and spending time with people. I think a lot of these questions are context driven, depending on the time, depending on the people, depending on what is going on at a time. So the way I answer those questions might not be the most accurate, but it's April 2023. Let's do an annual test to see if things change, or is annual too often? I don't know. Let's do annual. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.